everyone, I hope y'all are having a great day, and today I'll be reviewing The Sun Is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon. If Nicola Yoon sounds familiar, she also wrote Everything Everything, which is also another young adult contemporary novel that got really good reviews. But I did not enjoy Everything Everything. I think I gave it like 2 out of 5 stars. It was not for me. But since I kept hearing so many great things about The Sun Is Also a Star by really trustworthy sources, I thought I would give Nicola Yoon another chance. The Sun Is Also a Star is about a girl named Natasha whose family is from Jamaica and all of them are undocumented immigrants. Natasha's dad got into some trouble with a cop, and so they are about to be deported the next day. So she has one final day to be in the United States and to try to figure out a solution, a way to stay in the country that she calls her home. We also follow a boy named Daniel, who is the son of Korean immigrants, and today is the day of his Yale University college interview. His parents want him to go to Yale, become a doctor, marry a nice Korean girl, and live comfortably. However, Natasha and Daniel do meet on this day, and they spend the day together and they fall in love, even though all the odds are stacked against them. So the story takes place in this one day, the day before Natasha and her family are being deported and the day of Daniel's interview. I think Nicola Yoon is a talented writer. I do. I think she has great diction, beautiful style, creative ideas, but for some reason, I just don't click with her books. I didn't actively dislike The Sun Is Also a Star like I did Everything Everything, but I definitely didn't enjoy reading it either until the very last quarter. It ended up being that I was reading The Sun Is Also a Star not because I was enjoying the story, but because I wanted to hurry up and finish it so that I can move on to the next book that I might like better. My main issue with this book is that I could not really care for the characters, and because we follow these two characters for the entire story, that was kind of a really big deal. They're in really high-stake situations. Well, at least Natasha is, because she's about to be deported. Daniel's is significantly less crucial, and even knowing that there was so much at risk, I didn't really care. Like, honestly, how badly can I connect with a character that I wouldn't even care if they got deported the next day? Like, that's a humongous deal, and it would take a humongous amount of apathy for me not to care about that person or that family, but this story, for some reason, just wasn't cutting it for me. This book, more than anything, is a romance. The story is really about Natasha and Daniel, their relationship, and how they fall in love. I didn't really find either of them charming in a romantic way. I think they're decent as characters themselves, but as romantic interests, I did not see the appeal. I thought they were both too much of one thing. So Natasha was too prickly and cynical. Daniel was too earnest and starry-eyed. The character dynamic kind of reminded me of Eleanor and Park, but Eleanor and Park are my everything, and Natasha and Daniel are characters on a TV show that I'd probably change the channel from. It wasn't until near the end of the book that I finally felt investment in their characters and in their struggle. Honestly, when it comes down to it, I think it's just a matter of taste. There are some books that I dislike, and I dislike them because I think they're objectively bad, and that is not the case for The Sun Is Also a Star. I think The Sun Is Also a Star has so much for so many readers, but for some reason I was just not one of them. I didn't enjoy this novel because I thought the book's appeal relied too heavily on the relationship between Natasha and Daniel, which is something that I didn't root for like 80% of the book. The romance between them flares up so quickly and so passionately that as a reader I felt left behind. I don't want to call it unrealistic because I'm sure there are people out there who are as magnetic as these two are to each other, but I just didn't, as a reader, feel the context to truly believe this situation. Like I said before, The Sun Is Also a Star is not a bad book. I actually think it's excellently written. It changes points of views between Natasha and Daniel, and they're the characters we mainly follow, but it also sometimes takes third-person omniscient perspectives to give depth to some of the side characters we encounter. That structure of the narrative I thought flowed really well, and I also thought it gave the book kind of a literary fiction kind of flair. I think there's a lot to love about this book if it aligns with your taste, and unfortunately for me, I don't think it did. That happens. Sometimes I feel like you read a book that's objectively fine, but it just doesn't work for you. I do appreciate, as always, diverse characters. I loved seeing a Jamaican family. I loved seeing a Korean family. It felt a little autobiographical because I know that Nicola Yoon was born in Jamaica like Natasha, and she married a Korean American man like Daniel. So in my head, maybe Natasha and Daniel are kind of like alternate universe versions of Nicola and her husband, but also maybe I'm just reading far too into things. But yeah, I loved seeing people of color take the spotlight in this book. I also really appreciate the fact that Nicola Yoon incorporated immigration policy and deportation in a young adult novel. Like, how rare is that? How cool is it that she did that? I find that so impressive, and I have to give Nicola Yoon so much credit for incorporating that into her book. So those are my thoughts on The Sun Is Also a Star. If you've read this book, I would love to hear your thoughts on it. If you've read any of Nicola Yoon's books, I'd like to hear your thoughts on her as a writer. The Sun Is Also a Star was actually the last book I read in 2017, so that's kind of wild. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. I hope you'll have a fantastic day and happy reading. Bye!